We're in Corona, California today for the next stop in our ongoing series of plant tours. And today we're at Laminated Shim Company, and we're going to find out what they do and how they do it with their company president, Jennifer Bowe. And it's all coming up today on this edition of Manufacturer's Corner. And I have the pleasure now of being greeted here by Jennifer Bowe, and we are here in the tool making room. And Jennifer, I wanted to start a little bit by talking to you about your company, about Laminated Shim. Tell us, what does Laminated Shim do?
Well, Laminated Shim makes a peelable metal. There's only a few companies in the world that do what we do. And here's an example. It's about 2 or 3 thousandths thick, each layer. We will make the material and then manufacture the part from this material. And they go to install it in the aircraft. If it doesn't fit, they could then peel it down until they have the right thickness.
How many layers of laminate material would we actually see in a regular part? I mean, I would imagine that probably just varies depending on the customer and their needs. But for example, how many layers are here?
There's several hundred layers depending on the overall thickness and what size each lamination is.
Now, shims are basically can be used as, I would imagine, spacers, or essentially to fill gaps and to try to kind of close intolerances and things like that?
Yes, and each aircraft is designed with shims, so we have thousands of parts up in the sky right now.
How much of your business is aerospace or aeronautics as far as that goes?
I would say at least 95% is aerospace.
Okay, very good. So that's what we have here. How long has your company been in business? We're in Corona. Now, have you been here in Corona the entire time your company's been in operation?
We've been in Corona for over 20 years. Our business started in 1924, so we're over 90 years old. Originated back in Connecticut, and it was brought to California back in the early 80s.
Now, you've been involved in this business for a long time because it's a family-run shop, right?
Yes, I have been here for a little over 20 years.
Tell me a little bit about some of the other businesses. As I understand it, your company has grown a little bit lately.
Yes. We do have sister companies. We're a total of 4 businesses right now, and it just seems to keep growing.
How large is your team?
We're about 70 employees right now.
And as far as capacity is concerned, are you guys working around the clock nonstop? Are you at 100%, or where are you at?
We have one shift. We have the availability of going to the second shift if we need it. And so we're about, I would say, 70% capacity right now.
Tell me a little bit, if you would, about your growth areas. Are you looking for new staff to add to your current team? Are there any needs that you're trying to kind of fill out there? Unique areas in the marketplace that you're trying to kind of exploit right now to kind of expand your business?
Well, we're always looking to build our team, looking for a lot of engineering. CATIA is one of the most important in the industry right now, CATIA background, so we're looking for that.
Now, as it turns out, we didn't necessarily plan this, but we are standing next to a tool making machine, right? That's what you use this for?
Yes, this is a wire EDM, and this is what we make all of our in-house pancake dies with. And it's normally running, I would say, all day from 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon.
Except for right at this very moment, because we're talking.
Yes.
Very good. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go on inside, and we'll get the show started. Well, this is a pretty good place to start our tour. We're here on the floor, and I thought that we'd go ahead and we started right here where all the materials are lined up behind us. Jennifer, tell us a little bit about what we're looking at. We've got several steel racks behind us. It looks like rolls of steel. Maybe you can kind of fill us in on exactly what it is.
Okay. Well, most of our coils here are stainless steel, anywhere from anneal to full hard. We do work with aluminum, titaniums, and some exotic metals.
What's the difference? Are we talking about different levels of thicknesses in these materials behind us, or is it just simply different? They're all the same levels of thickness, grades of thickness, but they're all just different materials.
Yes, different materials and different thicknesses. It all depends on the installation or the form, fit, and function of the part that they're going to install in the aircraft.
In the same room, we've swung our camera around, and just to the right of the steel material that we saw just a moment ago, we have a machine and an operator. And tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here, Jennifer.
Well, on the shear, they're going to shear up the material for the next step. So if it's going to go on a punch press, they would shear up strips.
So he's running through an entire length of material here, or has the material from those rolls been pre-cut so that he's now just kind of defining more accurately the specific length of the part that he needs to make?
Well, normally they would come on a coil, so we would feed the coil through the shear. In some cases, they're already to length, and we're just trying to get them to the right width.
And now we're kind of more on the business end of the floor where things are actually getting punched and made, and this is really, we're standing in front of a punch press right now. We're going to see this thing work here in just a second, but we've got a part that was already made on that. Can you tell us just a little bit, or show us, at least at any rate, what this part is?
Okay, well, this part is made out of a steel.
Okay.
It is a very tight tolerance, used in an aircraft, probably a 700 series aircraft.
Okay.
This is just a carbon steel.
It's carbon steel, okay. And this entire part was made in just a single run on the punch press behind us.
Single run, only using about 3 tools, and they were roughly a few inches each. And it was just made within less than a minute.
Any idea, Jennifer, about how many of these kinds of parts you could make in a day if you were running at capacity? What do you think?
Well, we could run thousands. It all depends on the tolerance, how tight of a tolerance that part requires. So the tighter the tolerance, the longer it takes to make the part.
Okay. Now on this punch press, we should point out that it's capable of making several different cuts, and there are several tools that are used essentially at one time in sequence. Is that correct?
That is correct. And something like this made on another machine would cost a lot of money. But these tools are very small. The machine runs very fast, and it's going to be the best way to make this type of part.
And moving right along, we have another punch press behind us, and this is a little bit different. Tell us how this one is different, and it seems to be obvious from the one we just saw. This is kind of more of it looks like a single action type of a press.
Yes, so this is a different tonnage than the turret punch press. We make our own tooling in-house, so we use a wire EDM for that, and then we make pancake dies. Then they set it up, and they'll just punch each configuration each time.
Now, working as he's doing, he's taking and essentially resetting the tool each time, and he's punching a new part one at a time. How many of these types of parts could be manufactured using this equipment right here in the scope of an hour, maybe all day?
Yeah, usually you would want to run a quantity of 100 to 500 pieces on a machine like this. So this was planned to go on this machine because this job was actually for 300 parts. Okay. So it's the best run.
And these parts are going on a Beechcraft aircraft, is that correct?
Yes, it's for a Beech.
These, for equipment like this, when you're taking and making these parts on a piece of equipment like this, how many of these parts are actually tested during the course of a day? Do you have a limit, a minimum number? Is that dictated by the manufacturer, or that is by your client? How does that work?
It depends on the client. In most cases, they're inspected 100%. Each operation, after that operation, it goes through an inspection. So they're inspected several times before they ship.
What is a water jet machine? That's what we're going to ask Jennifer right now. And Jennifer, this is a very busy area. We got water all over the place, but tell us, what kind of a role does this play in the manufacturing process? What is a water jet?
Well, a water jet cuts the metal using a garnet and high pressure water. It could cut as thick as several inches of metal at one time. So for small runs, where we don't have to make the tooling, we could just program the water jet and it could cut out parts within a few minutes.
Tell me a little bit about the water jet machine that we're looking at here right behind us here. This is different from some of the others in the room.
Yes, actually this one is running a part for a military aircraft. It's a F-35, and it's a much larger part. That would be different than you would see on the punch press, where the capacity on that is only like a 6-inch diameter. We could run up to 8 feet on a water jet, depending on which water jet you put it on.
We hope you enjoyed our mini tour of Laminated Shim with our guide and guest, General Manager Jennifer Bowe, who reminded us that her family-owned company is one of only a handful of manufacturers in the country that produces laminated shim and other related components like the ones we saw on this tour. Partly for that reason, Laminated Shim is enjoying measurable growth and continued success at its inland Southern California plant in Corona. That'll wrap it up for this edition of Manufacturer's Corner. Now, if you'd like to join us as a guest, or if you simply have an idea or topic for an upcoming program, you can let us know by completing the form on the Contact Us page at manufacturerscorner.com. And your business can reach thousands of business owners, including manufacturers, suppliers, consultants, and logistics companies, by advertising here on our program and on our website. Simply give us a call at 951-697-3098, Monday through Friday. For Manufacturer's Corner, I'm Jeff Allen. Thanks so much for watching.